So what's going on, everybody? This is Edward from HTown Handshakes Podcast. I have my buddy, my friend here, Douglas. Doug, what is your last name, man? Can I say, what's your last name?
It's real difficult. Burns.
Doug Burns. I'm sorry, Doug. So I have my buddy here, Doug Burns. So I just call him Doug all the time. And I know his last name because I've sent him like a million emails. But, sometimes those things just like go over your head. Anyway, I have Doug here to talk about some great insight as a business owner that has been doing this for several decades already. So we're going to talk about Doug's business journey. We're going to talk about some things that he has going on right now.
We're going to about turning the camera on, so you actually think to get
Yes, turning the camera on. That's very important. So if you guys that don't know, we probably spent like 20 minutes doing setup, and I'm troubleshooting, trying to figure out why we're not recording. And I didn't turn the ONNFF button.
The ONNOFF button has to go into the positive position for everything to work.
So I take that. Don't hold that against me. I really am SMRT. Okay, Doug, welcome to the podcast.
So that's what I got here, man.
So, Doug, tell us about yourself. Tell us about you, dude.
Oh, well, I was born a poor white child. No, I'm kidding. The name's Douglas Burns, and I'm the owner, founder of DNB Productions. I've been in the photography, videography space for my entire career. Everybody talks about, don't give how many years because of the whole age thing. Guys, I didn't have gray hair when I got started. I've been doing this since college. I've worked with all kinds of incredible things. My very first job out of school was working with the NBC affiliate in Lubbock, Texas. If it bleeds, it leads. And running, chasing car wrecks at 3:00 in the morning from the people who were too drunk to leave the bars at night. And from there, I have moved on and worked with major broadcast names like Fox News, CNN, ESPN, NFL Films, Speed TV, working with celebrities like Dr. Phil, Yao Ming, Craig Biggio, Craig Bagwell. Being in Houston, a lot of major Houston sports figures. Got to work with George Foreman several times before he passed. Wonderful, wonderful man. True gentleman in every sense of the word. A true gentleman. Loved working with him on projects. A lot of corporate video over the years. Always shooting stills in between and kind of doing my own thing as a fine art photographer. Just it's not only my profession, it's my hobby, it's my passion. If you can make money doing your passion, you don't work a day in your life, right? That's what they say. That's what the line is. That's what they say. So, had another business, totally unrelated pre-COVID, that my wife and I ran, and selling travel. And you can imagine what a worldwide pandemic does to someone who sells vacation travel.
Change real quick.
My wife still works in that industry, and has a very good job managing travel agents in that industry. But I walked away from it post-COVID. I was only doing it part-time, didn't really care for the business model, and went back to full-time doing what I truly love, and that's playing behind the camera, making pretty pictures. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned some amazing names, like top names that we all, household names as we consider them, in terms of like even working with George Foreman. Tell us what your origin story looks like, because I'm really curious to see how you go from being a guy with big dreams to actually making those dreams a reality.
Well, in college, I thought I was going to be the next Steven Spielberg, so I got an RTF degree, radio, television, and film. Don't do that, guys. I don't recommend doing that.
How so?
Look, college is great. If you want the college experience and you're willing to, and of course nowadays, when I went through school, it was a whole lot cheaper, but there's nothing wrong with the college experience, but it doesn't prepare you for working on a film set, working in the industry. What prepares you for working in the industry is getting a job on a film set, keeping your mouth shut and your eyes and your ears open, and learning from the people around you. And it's a lot of on-the-job training. And taking workshops and whatnot along the way goes a long way to that. But you've got to get out there. It's just one of those things. It's an experiential thing. You have to do it. Study the basics. Study the masters. Now, if you are truly interested in pursuing a film in Hollywood, and in that environment, then go out to LA and get immersed in that environment, because it's a lot about who you know, less than what you know.
And that's a lot of industries.
That's a lot of industries, right? Well, Hollywood's no different. A lot of who you know, and being immersed in that environment, and being willing to struggle for a really, really long time, and being really to put yourself out there and making those right connections, and then to really just be a really nice guy. People have got to want to work with you. And here again, true.
It's a really nice guy, y'all. I'm co-signing, so you don't have to take his word for it.
But look, I've worked on those sets, and you've got those guys that just nobody wants to work with them again, and so they don't work a lot. And you work with those people who are, who's like, man, they really struggle. They really get out there. They're doing the work. They're making the effort. They may not have the skill set yet. You can always teach skill. You can't teach personality.
Okay, so you were this undergrad student, and then you went through the program, and you got out, and then you just went and jumped into the...
I jumped in feet first. My first paycheck job, well, technically my first paycheck job was working as shooting stills for some summer camp out in North Texas. But the first real job I had was working for the NBC affiliate in Lubbock, Texas, as a news photographer.
How'd you get that role?
A lot of applications. I submitted a reel. They had an opening. They took a chance on me. And news is a love it or hate it business. I'm just going to make no bones about it. You either really love working in a newsroom environment, or you hate working in a newsroom environment. There is zero in between. There's a zero. Oh, I'm just collecting a paycheck. Now, having said that, there's a lot of skills that you learn to develop really, really quickly in that type of environment, because of the nature of the product and the nature of the way a television newsroom works, especially at the local level. It's different at a national level, but it's at the local level. You learn to work really quickly. You learn how to get in, get out, tell a story quickly. What do you need to make the edit? Because oftentimes you're covering 4 or 5 stories a day. And you have to cut them for the 4 o'clock, the 5 o'clock, the 6 o'clock, and the 10 o'clock news. And they all have to be different, laid out differently for each broadcast.
Okay, so you were working for the news affiliate. Was it photo or video? Photo and video?
So that was all video. And here again, it's television news, right? So I'm not shooting stills. I mean, I'm shooting stills on my own time.
Okay.
You know, so like when we had I was there in Lubbock when they had the very first Buddy Holly Festival. So if you know who Buddy Holly is, guys, if you don't know who Buddy Holly is,
look it up.
Shame on you.
Google it.
King of rock and roll. And he's from Lubbock.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, you know, he Buddy Holly and the Crickets are from Lubbock. And so they had the very first. Now, Buddy Holly died in that very famous plane crash, right? Was with the Big Bopper and I forget who else was on the plane.
Is that the Richie Valens?
Richie Valens is on the plane also. Yeah. So the day the music died, that's the plane crash they were referencing. So, but the Crickets continued on, as a group. But they're from the Lubbock area, and so here many moons ago, Lubbock decided to start the Buddy Holly Music Festival, and so I was there working in the newsroom at the time, covering that story. And one of the perks was, I got a press pass for the festival.
That's pretty awesome. So if you've never had a press pass, that basically gives you like a guide pass to go wherever you want to go
within reason, within the limitations of the pass.
But
yeah, it's better than just buying a ticket, right? So I was able to leverage that pass, and on my own time, go grab my still camera and take some behind the scenes pictures of the Crickets on stage and performing. And that was a lot.
That must have been awesome.
It was really cool. Yeah. 20 years old, and I'm backstage shooting, one of the most famous bands in the history of rock and roll. Yeah, it was not that those pictures were really, really great, because they weren't, but having that experience was really, really cool.
All right, so you got your foot in the door, then you had opportunities that you wouldn't even dreamed of before. presented to you? Or
Well, yeah, it's a little bit interesting. So anybody who works for any length of time in a newsroom is going to get fired. Just the nature of the business.
That's kind of scary.
It's just the nature of the business. You will get fired at some point. And I got fired after about a year and a half of working there, which was fine because it was not my favorite job in the world. I was constantly stressed, and I really was hating the environment. So for me, that ended up being a long-term godsend. And so I moved back to Houston, where I grew up. Mom and dad lived here in what is now the fourth largest city in the United States. I figured they've got to have a film community I can tap into here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I didn't know anything about the community, didn't have any contacts here locally. So I busted my butt and started making contacts, and eventually landed a part-time job producing videos for the dental school, University of Texas Dental School here in town.
Okay.
Training videos for the dental students.
Oh, so you're that guy.
I'm that guy. Yeah. Or I did that job for a very short while.
Yeah.
And while doing that, I was able to start landing some more freelance gigs, start making some more contacts, eventually landed an opportunity on what they affectionately called a documentary. It was a overblown corporate video that some lawyers hired a idiot from LA to produce. But he was trying to make it into this big.
Idiot is a technical term.
Yes, highly technical term. I won't name the name, but it was around the Texas tobacco legal situation. But what was supposed to be a 3-week job turned into a 6-week job. And the contacts I made from that job, and what you and I were talking earlier about, it's about who you know.
Right.
And being a good guy on the set and being willing to just put the work out there and be energetic and whatnot, that launched me into the film community here in Houston. Because now those guys, as they were going out, say, oh, I know a guy, and built out a freelance career and have been able to work on a number of really low budget, no budget features, some really high-end, high budget commercial projects over the years, multi-million-dollar commercials and whatnot, as a crew member.
Anything that people may have recognized?
We're going to go back a while, but at the turn of the century.
Don't worry, we do have a mature audience.
Yeah. The De Beers commercial. At the turn of the 1999-2000 commercial, the De Beers Diamonds, they came to Houston and shot their commercials for that series.
Yeah.
And I was on that crew that put that together.
So back in '99, I was an undergrad, so I wasn't even thinking about rings. Just so you guys know. So
yeah,
diamonds. I'm like,
no,
yeah.
wasn't on the radar.
I think I was a new grad, so I was like, that was like the furthest thing away from it.
I was 2 weeks worth of work for me. So it was good because I was working in the art department on that project. So a lot of prep work and whatnot. And then I think we shot for 2 or 3 nights overnight downtown Houston, in the park, down Tranquility Park.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a really big show. There was some Super Bowl commercials over the years that I can't remember what for. I have worked a couple when Super Bowl come to Houston a couple times.
Yeah.
I've been on some of those crews. Usually on an ancillary broadcast side. So it wouldn't be like the main show, but it would be like the ancillary, the outside team, right?
Like the field correspondent.
Well, it might be like, covering some of the anchors on a set, talking about the all the hoo-ha-ha that goes on around the game itself.
Okay.
So some of that stuff. I have worked some men on camera for some football and baseball over the years. Not my favorite job, only because I'm not a sports guy. I don't follow sports. It's never on in my house.
It's telling he's not a sports guy, and we live in Houston. We have like 80 sports teams.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest sports town in the country.
Maybe not 80, but we have a lot.
Yeah, between the Rockets and the Astros and the Texans, and we've got
the Dynamos,
soccer. There's lacrosse. There are not lacrosse. Well, there might be lacrosse. Hell, I don't know.
You got major
Rugby. There's a professional rugby team. There's women's sports, professional women's sports. I mean, yeah, there's a whole bunch. This is a big sports town.
See, he knows more than he's letting on.
Well, I just don't watch it, so I don't follow the players. I don't. I mean, it's really kind of interesting. I don't. The only sports gig that I do on a regular basis that I really actually enjoy, Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've had the pleasure to be part of that broadcast team now for close to 25 years. And have a very unique position there that the only time I don't pick up a camera, it's the only time I'm not behind a lens. But it's been a honor and a privilege to be part of that team for nearly a quarter of a century now and help them put on that show. It's a huge show. It's a lot of fun. It's a good solid team that helps put that show on every night. So
okay, Pat. So tell us about one of the biggest, not necessarily opportunities, but the biggest stories that you've got to tell. No, maybe not the biggest. Something that really resonates with you. That you've got to capture and preserve that.
Man, there's been so many opportunities over the years. I was doing a job with, who was it? I think it was Speed TV at the time. We were in Austin covering a motorcycle rally, shooting video, and just run around, just flavor of the event type of thing. And there was a guy giving helicopter rides there, and the producer was able to con him into letting us go up and get some footage above, from the helicopter of this rally. It was a big rally. Okay, now usually when you're doing helicopter work, you've got the camera rigged onto the helicopter, it's mounted and whatnot, right? So no, we're in this little bitty nothing of a helicopter. I'm physically holding the camera out the door. I took the door off and I'm holding it with a death grip on my hand, on holding the camera, shoot dish down to. And we're flying around for about 10, 15 minutes. It wasn't a very long flight, but I just, I've got a death grip on this camera. And I'm telling the helicopter pilot,
no, you could white knuckle a camera.
Oh yeah, you absolutely can. And I'm telling him to go lower. He's wanting to go higher. You got to no, go lower. It works better the closer you are. So if you're doing a drone work, the closer, it's like if you do any drone work, get the camera closer to the ground, unless there's an absolute reason that goes like super, super high, right? It's one thing to have that high angle, but it's another thing you still want to be close to your subject.
Right.
And especially with motion, right? You want to see things sweeping across the lens. And you don't get that if you're too high. It all looks the same if you're too high.
All right. So we're in the
hell. I have this death grip off on, because I'm buckled in.
Yeah.
But I've got no cording, no rope, no anything to even lash the camera to. So if I drop the camera, we're talking about a 40-pound Beta SP rig, with the camera body at the time was probably $8,000. The lens was another $5,000 or $6,000. And we're shooting on tape, because this is back in the days we're shooting on tape. So
I'm just thinking with inflation and everything. So we're talking about like
the equivalent. Yeah, it's equivalent of about a $30,000-$40,000 rig that I'm holding by hand out this helicopter. And the tape only runs for about 10 minutes. So we were up there and I just hit record on the tape, and we just fly until I'm done shooting. And we land, and the producer's like, okay, let's run. We got more to shoot. It's like, no, I need 10 minutes just to peel my fingers off the camera.
Wow, dude.
So,
I think my knuckles are getting pale just thinking about it.
So that was one thing. I had another opportunity here. Actually, just a couple of years ago, I was down on the Texas-Mexico border during the immigrant crisis, at the height of the immigrant crisis.
Right.
With Fox News and a national reporter down there. We're in the middle of nowhere. We're 20 miles from the nearest street light. I mean, on the riverbank, there's not the only light around is the one that was on my camera. Middle of the night with DPS and the Border Patrol, and filming.
I'm going to ask the question as you're going through this, and please continue. But did you feel safe?
Oh, I was surrounded by about 20 people with guns.
Okay.
That were on our side of the river. So yeah, I really wasn't worried about it.
Okay. That was just going through my mind. So
I really wasn't worried. And you kind of get into this mode. I just got to get the shot. I just got to get the job done, right? You just kind of go into that mode. But we're out there on the riverbank, and there's this what they're known as coyotes, if you don't know. But this guy that's bringing people across the river illegally he's got on a little kiddie raft, and he's just wading across. I mean, it's the Rio Grande. It's not that deep,
right?
It's just wading across, and he's bringing them over on this little kiddie raft. And I've got the shot, filming him, with my little light on top of my camera, and the reporter's like, "I need you to back up." It's like, dude, I've got the shot. We're standing on this busted concrete dock on the side of the riverbank, and keep in mind, it's pitch black. The only thing I can see is what's in my viewfinder. I can't see anything. And so he puts his hand on my back, which is a common move to say, "Okay, I've got your back. I'm going to guide you to back up." I shuffle my feet. I don't pick them up. I shuffle my feet about an inch, and all of a sudden I hear a splash. There's my reporter with my wireless microphone in the Rio Grande.
Whoa.
So now I've got DPS, I've got the National Guard, I've got state troopers all trying to fish him out of the river. And we got the coyote, the guy who's breaking federal law, asking in Spanish, "Is he okay? Are you okay?"
Yeah.
He was concerned. So yeah, there's a lot of stories like that. But that's not my normal everyday life, right? That's not normal everyday stuff. The normal stuff is walking in and working with a company that needs promotional shots or promotional video, and walking into a room much like this with 4 white walls and making something visually interesting.
And a house plant.
Yeah. Oh, you got to have the rubber plant in the back. That's a standard corporate thing. It's just a staple. You just got to do it, because we've been doing that since the 80s. Probably longer. I need some texture. But walking in with lighting and making something interesting in an environment that most people would not consider interesting. One of my favorite places to photograph or shoot video is on construction sites and in factory floors, and where guys are welding and working with heavy equipment. You wouldn't think that would be visually interesting, but there is a creative energy there that these guys who do this day in and day out and are intimate with those machines have, that you just can't replicate. And to shine a light on those guys, and make them
blue collar work, right?
Making blue collar shine and say what you do is important and needs to be celebrated, and let's make you look really cool doing it. Because what you do really is kind of cool. We just don't think about it very often. To me, I have more fun doing that than I do working with celebrities. I mean, celebrities are a pain in the ass oftentimes. I mean, I've had my fair share of really cool experiences with celebrities, but I mean, more often than not, they've got a dozen handlers. They're short on time. It's just you're one of 12 or 13 interviews they're doing that day. So it's in and out. It's not a big.
It's the grind.
It's just it's a day at the office, right? What's your day in the office? Do you get excited about your average day in the office? Punching on your computer or making sales calls. For them, this is their day in the office.
I love it.
Yeah. But for them, sitting down for an interview and with proper lighting and good sound, I mean, it's just another day at the office for them. And pretty much for everybody on the set, it's just like, okay, we got another day of doing this. But if I can roll in with what I consider a small amount of gear, everybody looks at my car and goes, "Man, that's so much stuff." Yeah, it is, but it's not, because I've worked on such bigger projects. But if I can roll in with my small kit and make something really, really cool in somebody else's everyday office, and let them see how exciting and interesting their life really is, to me, that makes my day, and feeds me as a creative.
That's pretty amazing, and being able to have that skill, I think it's very underrated in terms of like the industry, where it's like you're actually telling a story, you're helping to elevate somebody. And like I often tell some of my clients, when we're building media around them, we're helping to tell a story, so that way people are excited about meeting them and greeting them. So I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, look, you want, it's that whole, do business with people like and trust, right? If you can position yourself in a way that makes you approachable likable, that people want to say what you do is kind of interesting, even if what you think what you do is maybe not as interesting. Now, I recognize I work in a fairly interesting environment and an interesting career path.
Oh yeah.
Part of why I chose it, but but if I can walk in and make a CPA look interesting doing their day-to-day job, if I can walk in and showcase a team of bankers and say, let's make this bank people that you want to do business with, you want to, lend money from. If I can walk into a factory floor and say, let's make as you're producing your widgets, and showcase the incredible talent you have on your factory floor producing your widgets, so that people want to buy your widgets, because at the end of the day, you want to sell widgets,
right?
If I can make that exciting for people, then I've done my job.
Woo. Amen. Amen. All right, so Doug, so as we're going through this journey, for those that are aspiring out there, in terms of joining the media space, because you are in the media space, what advice would you give those people? You can just look at them right now.
Yeah. If you can make a living doing anything else, go do anything else.
Oh man! This somebody was just hanging their head down right now. It's like, man, I'm like 3 years into the 4-year degree.
And that's been advice that I was given day one. And there's a number of careers that I would make that application to too. I mean, like if you're thinking about the clergy and you think you can be happy doing anything else other than being clergy, go do almost anything else. You have to have a passion for this that goes beyond making money. If you are a creative, that creativity, that creative bone has to be fed, whether you get paid for it or not. You have to eat, sleep, drink, breathe your creative passion, whether that's photography, media, creation, writing, whatever that is. You have to wake up in the morning thinking about it, go to bed thinking about, dream about it overnight, obsess about it to the point where it's annoying to other people. None of that necessarily means you're going to make money doing it, but you have to be in that creative, you have to be in that mindset, to be willing to put up with all the crap to pursue it professionally. Because there's a lot of crap on the professionals to pursue it professionally. There's a lot of crap that you have to put up with and general business stuff. So having the skill set's important, but more important is the passion to pursue it. Because you can't see yourself doing anything else. If you think you could be happy being an Uber driver, go be an Uber driver.
Right.
Entrepreneurship in general is that way. And that, that because you're an entrepreneur, right? If you can be happy working for somebody and just collecting a paycheck, working a 9 to 5. I mean, what's an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is someone who is
glutton for punishment.
It's a glutton for punishment, right? I mean, it's someone who will work 80 hours doing a job and to get paid half of what I could get paid working 40 hours a week for somebody else. Because
a tremendous upside.
Look, there are some. Look, I could not be anything other than an entrepreneur. I cannot be, and I'm not. There are some great entrepreneurial heroes out there in the world for people to chase, and definitely if you think you want to do it, I mean, look into it, consider it. If you've got a passion for it and you can't do it any way else, then definitely do it. But you've got to have that passion. You have to have that passion. Otherwise, it's the journey is too difficult to do on a whim. I think I might want to do.
I think that's great advice. I think that's, as they say, sage advice, because it's like anything that you do, you're going to have ups and you're going to have downs.
Oh yeah.
So Doug, tell us about any upcoming projects you have. Tell us about how people can find out more information about your studio and those projects that you have coming up.
Best way to find me is the website. It's dnbproductions.com. dnbproductions.com. That's the website. That's been my moniker since college. Um, and most of my services that I make publicly available are on there. I don't advertise the video stuff. I talk about the video stuff, but I don't necessarily advertise the video stuff a whole lot. I really am working on building up the still side of what I'm doing. Big thing that on the sales side and sales push that I'm working on right now is headshots for teams and groups, but also headshots for conferences and events where you can use headshots to help boost engagement at your booth and generate more leads. And I've got a great system to help you generate more leads at your next conference or expo using headshots. You think of it swag on steroids, right? So everybody's giving away pens, everybody's giving away chocolate. They grab the pens, they walk away. You give them a opportunity to get a free headshot at your booth. You're going to have a line of people waiting to come stand in your booth. Great opportunity for your sales staff to engage with them, and then you're walking away with a list of everybody who came through with their name, their contact information, so that you can do an immediate post-show follow-up and get them into your CRM and into your sales cycle, and have a really better ROI at your event than you just standing there hoping people stop by and pick up yet another pin with a logo on it.
That they're going to leave behind in the bathroom.
It's going to live in their bag. They're never going to look at the logo. I guarantee you they'll never call the number on it. But if you can get your salespeople engaging with the people who are waiting in line, now you're developing a relationship with those people. And you've got that information then to follow up with, immediately following the show. And then they're getting something that they want, which is that headshot to update their LinkedIn and their professional network. And the gallery it goes to a private gallery. They're not shifting through hundreds of images to find theirs. It's a private gallery with just their images branded back to your company. We can put a link to a landing page or a link to a website, contact information on there, so that we can go, give you a little more love on that direction. So great way to boost your brand. And really engage an audience with that. So those are some of the things that I'm really out there pushing and promoting right now. But I've got a personal artistic project I'm working on. I could really use some help with. So
do tell more.
Yes. So I heard a podcast last year with Mike Rowe, and if you don't know who Mike Rowe is, look him up. He's incredible. Another big blue collar guy. Right? He really celebrating the blue collar workforce. But he was interviewing some people talking about firefighters nationwide, and I didn't realize that the number of volunteer firefighters in this country is like 80 to 90% of our firefighting force.
I had no clue.
Yeah, I didn't either. I obviously in the municipal cities, those guys tend to be paid professionals, but the neighborhood communities, the surrounding counties, it's almost exclusively volunteers. And so I started thinking of a way that I could highlight that. And so I'm looking to make connections with people in the volunteer firefighting space. So if you have a connection at a volunteer fire department, especially somebody in their communications or department, or the fire chief would be great. I'm trying to put together a series of photos that celebrate volunteer firefighters, celebrate their sacrifice, celebrate their commitment, their training. And it's more than just put on the bunker gear and stand in front of the truck.
Right.
There's a bazillion images out there like that. I don't want to do that. I want to see the guy. I want to do personal, intimate photos of these guys and really showcase their dedication, their training, their commitment, their sacrifice, and do something very artistic with that. And then allow the fire departments to use those for training and recruitment and promotional purposes. So it's not like the fire departments won't benefit either. They absolutely will. So I'm looking for people to collaborate with right now on that project. So that's something I'm working on this year.
Wow, that sounds like a couple of amazing projects, actually, Doug. So remember, DNBProductions.com. So Doug, we're about to wrap up. Anything that you want to say in our farewell?
Any words of wisdom, words of advice? If you can do anything else, do something else. No, look, I love what I do. I live and breathe what I do. And if you're passionate about something at that level, if you live and breathe it, and you think you can make a living at it, definitely look at pursuing it. But if you you've got to be willing to make that sacrifice and put yourself out there and say, I'm going to do this and nothing else, and be committed to it and be willing to put up with the headaches. Whatever your entrepreneurial journey might be, whether that's being a CPA, real estate, or working in a creative space like what I work in. I think you've got to have that passion for your industry, passion for the skill set that goes beyond just, I enjoy doing it on the side.
Wow, that's amazing, Doug. Ladies and gentlemen, Douglas Burns of DNB Productions.
And turn the ONOFF button to the positive position.
Yes, the ONFF button. I've learned something new today. Very, very critical to my advancement as a host.
Turn the ONOFF button to the positive position.
All right, guys. We'll see you all next video. All right, cool beans. We're good, dude. That was fun.
Yeah.